Where is the scavenger?
I don't know about what scavenger you're talking about, but I'm ready to film that video about the rise of Kylo Ren if you are.
Traitor!
That was weird.
Hey, sorry, that was kind of rude. Still down to do that video though.
Okay, just take a seat and then we'll get started, I guess. Hello YouTube, I'm Dapie45 and welcome to my channel. So today I'm joined by Jacob again, and we're going to be talking about the rise of Ren, was it?
Rise of Kylo Ren.
Rise of Kylo Ren comic book series. It's a limited 4-issue series, and so he really liked it and he wanted me to read it and we're going to talk about it, so that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you want to add on before we start this?
I think it was pretty cool. Kind of interesting how they used Rise of Kylo Ren, because the Rise of Skywalker, technically this could have been called the Rise of Skywalker, but he's not a Skywalker.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Spoilers, by the way, guys. All of our videos are spoilers. You should know this by now, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll basically go through whatever is talked about in this comic book series. So if you want to read it yourself, I suggest you stop watching and come back to watch it afterwards. But if not, if you don't care, then just come along with us. So I'm gonna go over my points and we'll discuss about it. So one thing that stood out to me in this is the art. So the art in this comic book just isn't my favorite, because it looks. I like how it looks kind of realistic, but it looks kind of like cartoony almost.
It's sort of in that uncanny valley almost. I see what you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if you look at the face, it's right here.
Yeah.
Show
it to the camera.
I'll show it to you guys too. Look at his face right there. It isn't the best.
Look at this dude.
It's in the faces, when it's you kind of could tell. It's not the best at times. But it's my favorite. What do you think about the art?
You know what? I agree with you. I actually really agree with you. I didn't realize this, but I do agree with you, because there's points where his art looks cool, but it only looks really cool when there's people with masks on.
Yeah.
There's a shot of, I think it's the last issue of that, or the last page of that issue where all the Knights of Ren are yeah, there it is. Yeah, so that looks really cool. He does really cool art with costumes and masks, but when it comes to faces, it kind of throws you off, because there's a point, we'll go into it soon, but there's a point where I guess Ben Solo, he does something, and there's two panels. There's one panel where he's kind of shocked and he's and then right next to it he's kind of mad, but it's a little hard to see how he's actually feeling, because the art kind of throws you off a little. But yeah, that's I'll try to find it, but go on.
Alright, so yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. I remember when I was reading the comic book for the first time, I was going through it and I was noticing the faces and stuff. This doesn't really look right. It looks a little off, but it's other than that, it's still, of course I can't draw anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's better than I can do, but just compared to other comics I've seen, it's not the best.
Yeah, I found it, so it's this one right here.
Right.
So yeah, check this out. He's kind of shocked, and then he's okay. But that first one, I don't know, it's kind of makes a weird face.
Yeah.
That's just us being rude.
Alright. So then, my next point is that the Jedis that follow Kylo Ren, so what happens in this story is that, if you've seen the Star Wars sequel movies, you know that Luke Skywalker was gonna kill Ben Solo, but then he changed his mind, and then Kylo Ren or Ben just kind of destroys and runs off. But then in the comics, they have these other. It was only 2 more, or was it 3?
There's
Jedi.
3 other Padawans.
Okay, yeah. There's 3 Padawans that go follow him, and of course, this is the only place you hear about them. They're obvious, just comic only characters. It's not they're given oh yeah, they're really important to the story, and that it's supposed to be for this, but like they're not mentioned in the movies. I thought it's like a little odd since it is supposed to be connected and stuff. It's just sort of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, they feel misplaced because yeah, you're right. Like they're only mentioned in the comics, so they don't feel you're not as connected to them as you should be. So yeah.
Because it seemed like that Ben and all the other Palins like really good friends and stuff, and we don't hear about them outside of this, outside of the comics. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. I do like how this does give insight on the Knights of Ren, because I haven't really done much like diving into the comic books related to the sequel trilogy. So I didn't really know about the Knights of Ren. I knew of them, but I didn't know anything about them. So this kind of helped fill me in, which I did appreciate. Because I always heard about them. Oh yeah, the Knights of Ren, they're like not to be messed with, but
you don't even know what to mess with, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know what am I messing with, you know? And yeah, that's the thing too that I kind of want to build off on. They're so heavily implied in the first movie, The Force Awakens, like, oh, the Knights of Ren, you are a Knight of Ren, you know, talking about Kylo Ren, but they're just so, how do you say this? They're so misused in the whole trilogy, the new sequel trilogy, especially in the last scene of the Rise of Skywalker. Like, you see in the comics how they are, like, really cool and they can beat you up, but, you know, in that one scene, Rise of Skywalker, where, you know, Ben Solo just straight up kills them all, like, you know, with his lightsaber, like, ugh. Oh, also, they also explain in the first issue that, in order to be in the Knights of Ren, you have to have the shadow. And so what they say the shadow is the Force. So that's their Force. And, you know, like in the movies, you would never guess that any of them had the Force, you know, except, you know, Kylo Ren. But every one of the Knights of Ren have the Force. And they only tell you that in the comics, which is weird. And there's this one little scene in Rise of Skywalker where one of the Knights of Ren, they actually use the Force on Ben Solo, and then Ben Solo used the Force back. But I didn't catch that until like my fourth time watching Rise of Skywalker, and I was like, wait, they have the Force? Like, and then I read the comics and I was like, what the heck? Yeah. So that's something.
Yeah, it was weird. Like in the movies, they're just sort of like silent, like almost like ninjas that are sort of there or just fight. And they're just like, they just do Snoke's bidding, kind of, it seemed like. And then later on, Palpatine's bidding, but they're sort of there, little. And this one, they're like more talkative, and you get to kind of know like the leader and stuff, so it's interesting. Yeah. So alright. And there's still like, even though like it does elaborate more on the group, like it still gives like some mystery to this group.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like the argument like Han Solo, like the thing that he was really appealing about him in the original movies was that he didn't really have much of a story. Like you knew him going along with the movies, but you didn't really know his past, which is why a lot of people hated the Solo movie, because it's kind of shined light on what happened in his past. But
gave too much info.
Yeah, but so I think this was the information regarding the Knights of Ren was good enough that like, hey, it's still like I know more about them, so now it's not like they're just totally forgettable, but I can like now I'm invested, I'm curious, and it makes you more intrigued on like what they're up to and do. Like you don't really know how they started or anything, so it's just sort of
you kind of just know that there's a main leader. His name is Ren, and I guess he's like supposed to be the most powerful Force user of that group, and so he's the leader. And you know what? That kind of reminds me of this one point. In the first opening little sequence of the first issue, there's a point where the Knights of Ren, they find these two brothers in the snow, and he tells both of them, because they both killed like this whole group of people, and he's saying, you know, we need someone to join the Knights of Ren, but you have to have the shadow, remember the Force? And so one of them has the Force, and the other one doesn't, talking about the two brothers. And the brother without the Force, he kills the brother with the Force. And then Ren says, oh, like that was a good death, but not good enough. And so he kills the brother without the Force because he needed the one with the Force. And I don't know. That just kind of got me upset. I was like, dude, come on.
Yeah,
It was interesting. Like, it shows, like, he really has no mercy. So that was cool.
Yeah. And then my final point here, it's not pretty much related to the comics, but it's more so, like, to movies. Is that, like, the Lightsaber Ren just kind of aren't used enough in the movies. Because in this series, they show how important it is, or how not important, but, like, how influential, like, the Lightsaber Ren are to this series. And especially, like, Kylo Ren becoming the leader. Like, he eventually becomes, like, the leader or part of the group at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sort of, like, really entangled in this group. But in the, like, watching the movies, you can't really tell that he was a part of it. Outside of just the name, the Knights of Ren. Like, you could say, oh, yeah, I guess he's probably ideally part of it. But he's, I don't know, like, this seems so detached in the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say that he feels like he's not really, I guess, how do you say it? Like, he's not really with the group. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he feels really apart from them.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little weird because since he is part of the group, if you could, the only way that you could guess that he's part of it is by his name. But outside of that, watching the movies, they're sort of there to like kind of fight the good guys, and at the end fight him when he turns to the good side. But that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go over what I have to add.
Yeah, that's all my points. So now we'll go over yours.
So let's see. Yeah, I thought it was cool how you saw Ben Solo's perspective on how he feels, you know, going through that whole process, because the process of him becoming, you know, Kylo Ren, because they shined some light on it in The Last Jedi, and that was the part that, you know, everyone hated, that Luke Skywalker was, you know, going to kill Ben Solo, and that's not something he'd do. And they do shine like a little bit more light on how, you know, Luke Skywalker really thought he could have saved the whole, you know, the rest of the galaxy because of how much raw, you know, power and like evil, I guess the dark side, huh? Like he saw the dark side in Ben Solo. So you see why he did that, and like Ben Solo's how he saw, how do I say this, like how he was really mad that, you know, the other two Jedi, they said, the three Padawans that were training with him, how they thought, you know, Luke Skywalker could never do this, but, you know, we see that he actually did, and Ben Solo's trying to tell them, like, you know, like, he really did this, I don't know why you don't believe me. And so that's why they try to catch Ben Solo as he's taken off from the Jedi Temple. But, you know, Ben Solo just stops and he's like, you know, I'm really powerful, guys. Like, you don't want to mess with me. And like that was interesting. I thought it was cool how they described that. And yeah, it was interesting how because Ren, the main leader of the Knights of Ren, when the comic starts, he has this helmet, and then he drops it, and he doesn't give it to Ben Solo, but he leaves it for him. And when Ben Solo picks it up, it like talks to him. I thought that was pretty cool. We never really seen that in Star Wars, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, it was cool, especially at the end of the 4th issue, which is the last issue, where he builds his lightsaber. I thought that was super cool because he gets his crystal from his original lightsaber, Ben Solo's original lightsaber, and he breaks it, and then it turns red, and that's how we see that it's like a bleeding kyber crystal. You know, puts it in his lightsaber, adds the 2 sides, and then boom. That was really cool. I like that part a lot.
It was a good explanation on why his lightsaber is the way it is. Because when you compare it to other lightsabers in the Star Wars universe, a lot of them are smooth, but his is like all jagged and stuff. And then of course the things on the side is to kind of distribute the power, like the power of the kyber crystal evenly, because if it was normal, just shot up around and it's just too much. So it makes sense, like how it gave a little explanation about that, which I liked over his lightsaber. And I remember I still was like, what's the point of those little 2 things? Like they're almost like useless. They're sort of like there.
just to have fun. That's cool. But yeah, it was cool because in other Star Wars lore, other Siths, how they have their red lightsabers, they actually made it, professionally. And this one, Ben Solo, he just kind of does it on his own, and I thought that was cool. That was like really cool.
That's probably why it broke, because he's not professional. He's just like angry.
He thought he would make it better, but he just broke it. That's why the two sides are coming out. He's like, oh, yeah, yeah. That's all my final thoughts on it.
All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for us, I guess. So, do you want to go first on your rating of this?
You know what? Overall, the comic, I actually really liked this 4-issue run. I guess the only complaint I really have with it is that it kind of ended abruptly. I wish it would continue from this. I could totally see this, becoming a series instead of just the 4-issue miniseries. That's my only complaint. It was really cool. I liked the the backstory to everything. I would give it a, let's see, I want to say like 8.5 crying Luke Skywalkers out of 10.
And yeah, so I like the story was pretty good outside of the art, which of course I didn't like, and then just little minor things like the other Padawans. Like, that wasn't my favorite, but Knights of Ren, I liked getting more information about them. It did make them have more meaning to me than it did have before, which I really liked, and a little bit more about kind of what Ben Solo did after Luke Skywalker tried to kill them. So the information which I did appreciate. So I'll probably give it probably like an 8 out of 10 disappointed Luke Skywalkers also.
Yeah,
pretty great,
especially after 8.5 crying Luke Skywalker's on Octu out of 10. Yeah.
Alright, so that's pretty much our thoughts about this comic book series. Let us know if you like this kind of videos. Of course, we love reading comics, so we don't mind reading more for you guys. And please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you'd like to see on my channel next. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
Later.